One of the most common reasons why people cannot find success with their cold email campaigns is that they're not landing in the inbox to begin with. They're sending out cold emails, they're building these lead lists, but they're actually not landing in the inbox to begin with. In this video, I'll be going over how you can identify whether or not you have a deliverability issue, number one. And number two, I'll be going over the 4 common reasons why you're facing a deliverability issue to begin with and how you can go about fixing that. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So getting into this now, the 3 factors to cold email success, part 2, deliverability. So I've sent over 1 million plus cold emails. When a campaign doesn't work, it's never random. It's usually one of these 3 things or combination of these 3 things. So in the first video, we talked about the offer / messaging. Do they even care about what you're saying? Now we're talking about deliverability. Are you even landing in the inbox? And there will also be a 3rd video, which we will talk about a different topic, but that's for later. So the reality of the situation is that deliverability is actually one of the most complex parts of cold email. And I can understand, there's all these things going on, mailboxes, DNS, domains, sending behavior, lead quality, copy, spam filters, reply rates. It's very easy to get overwhelmed if you're not well versed in this and you haven't done this for a long time. So it's a system of moving parts, and I will show you in this video how you can take this into pieces and actually fix your deliverability problem with no headache. So let's get into this. So the biggest mistake people make is that they try to fix deliverability by spending so much time trying to identify the root problem. So they spend hours, debugging, testing, overanalyzing, why am I on this blacklist? Why am I here? Why am I not able to land in the inbox and all these things? And yes, that is, productive to an extent, but after a certain point, it is actually counterproductive. Sometimes or often, it's better just to restart. Buy new domains, buy new email accounts, and just run it up again. And this is especially, I'm saying this especially to those who have been running cold email campaigns and are running cold email campaigns and are facing deliverability issues, and you've tried to identify the problem, but you just can't. And it's multifaceted, it's a complex issue. Sometimes it's just better to, or most of the time it's better just to buy new domains and email accounts. So also, just to put you at ease, the reality is that domains and inboxes are not permanent. So these things degrade over time. They get flagged, they lose reputation. They are meant to be replaced. And this is not something that, is permanent. So don't be, shocked as to, we've been running cold emails for 3 months and, we're no longer landing in the inbox. That's fine. That's normal. I've had that before, and I just buy new domains and new mailboxes. So the first signal that you want to look at to determine whether or not you have a deliverability issue is your reply rate. So this is your main KPI. If your reply rate is below 1%, including out of office, by the way, you probably have a deliverability problem. Something that is also included here is your bounce rate. So when you go to your campaign and you go to your leads, you can actually see what is your bounce rate. I like to keep my bounce rate below 3%. If it's above that, it is a bit of a red flag for me. So I want it to be below 3%. If your emails are getting bounced, that's also another indication that there's something going on there, right? So your second signal is your inbox placement. So there's something called inbox placement tests. This is where you can basically perform tests to see whether or not you're landing in the inbox to begin with. There are 2 ways you can do this. You can do this the automated way or the manual way. The automated way is basically tools like instantly.ai and smartly.ai have placement tests where they can automatically see whether or not you're landing in the inbox. So they will send emails on your behalf to random email accounts. And if you're landing in the inbox, it'll give you a score. It'll give you a score like a percentage or out of 10 or something. There's also another way, which is doing it via mail reach. This is called manual inbox placement, where you basically go on a website called mailreach.com or .co, and you basically you follow their steps, and you basically have to manually send a cold email to a bunch of email addresses they give you, and then there is where they give you your score. So this is an example here where we're getting a 5 out of 10. We're not landing in Gmail quite well or Google Workspace, and this is an indication that we're burnt with Google. So the third signal I look at, which is one of the lesser ones, I don't really rely on this that much, but it's your warm-up score. It's another signal I look at, but it's not super major. If I'm getting a below 95% warm-up score, that can be, yeah, that is like kind of concerning. If I'm getting 98, 99% or closer to 100, that's my ideal warm-up score. Reply rate is your real signal, to be honest, because that's coming from real data. Yes, this is coming from real data as well, but I just prefer reply rate because it's coming directly from the campaign. But this is also something you can look at if you want to look at individual email accounts. So up until this point, I've talked about the signals, how you can identify whether or not you have a deliverability issue. I now want to talk about the actual problems. So what specifically in the cold email system is causing you to have this deliverability issue? So it could be the first problem here, which is the copy. So your email itself can actually trigger spam. A lot of, the biggest mistakes people make is that they use salesy messaging, over-promising, spammy words, links in the email. They put their calendar links in the email. It's something that a human being really wouldn't send. And I know that sounds a bit weird because you're the one sending it, but a simple rule is to ask yourself, like, would a real human being actually send this kind of email? If you're sending like a promotional kind of message, where it's like an actual marketing email and you're sending this to 50,000 people, then that's not human behavior, because number one, no human being actually goes to their email account and sends 50,000 of these emails a day, unless it's automated like this. And two, human beings don't write like that. So human beings write like human beings. They ask questions, they ask, how's your day, all these things, which is not included in your email. So one way to actually identify like whether or not you have spam words is to use this tool called Mail Meteor Spam Checker. This is good for identifying, whether or not you have a spammy wording in your email. Now, my best practices, honestly, is to keep it conversational, have a good word length, no links, no weird formatting, no marketing language, nothing that indicates that, this is like an AI generated email, or I don't want to be using things that don't make it sound human. And when I say keep it conversational, is try to make it sound human and don't make it sound like it's a marketing email. And I know that's like difficult to conceptualize because it's also a marketing email, but you want to make it feel one-to-one. So something like, hey John, as the head of marketing, you're probably looking to find ways to improve your brand awareness, for example. So stuff like this, keeping it personalized, just allows you to make it feel more one-to-one. So the second problem that you could be facing is your actual lead list quality. So the actual leads you're reaching out to are not verified email addresses, which is causing you to not land in the inbox. So for example, Apollo will tell you that these emails are verified, but it's not actually verified because you have to put it into a third-party verification tool like NeverBounce or Million Verifier to actually identify whether or not this is a verified email. And this is how you end up sending emails to the right people, to the right email addresses that are actually verified. The mistake people make is that they actually take the Apollo verified emails and they start reaching out to them directly. Keep in mind, Apollo will say they're verified, but they're not like 100% verified. You need to actually verify them on a third-party tool. Risky emails like these ones, you don't want to be sending to these emails directly. You want to actually verify these risky emails to see whether or not they're actually verified as well. Like these risky emails, are they like verified risky or are they risky bad? And this is how you can reach out to these people. So this is the second problem. The third problem is your volume. So another thing, another mistake people make is that they send way too many cold emails from one mailbox. So they might be sending 50, 100 emails a day from one mailbox, which is really detrimental because, again, going back to the question, would a real human being do this? The answer is no, because no human being sends 200 emails a day, right? 100 emails a day. They don't do that. So too many emails per inbox is a problem. Your safe range is 15 to 25. I honestly stay at 15. 25 is when I'm pushing it. Anything higher just risks spam filters. So the fourth problem is aging email accounts. So over time, people will mark you as spam, your reputation drops, and honestly, it's one of those things where it's a bit out of your control because it's really unavoidable. People mark you as spam, your reputation drops. Naturally, there's people marking you as spam anyways when you're sending cold emails, even though you have very good messaging and you have very good lists, there will always be a percentage of people who will mark you as spam. And your reputation your reputation in terms of domain can also drop, and that's very normal with age. So this is a bit of a bonus, but enterprise companies as well have stronger spam filters and lower reply rates. So with these kind of companies, when you reach out to them, you will naturally sometimes face a lower performance. And that is because they inherently have higher spam filters. Now, and this is why targeting is important. When you're reaching out to enterprise companies, try to reach out to the right person and with the right kind of messaging. Now I want to get into this concept of fix versus replace. There's two ways you really go about fixing deliverability. There's either the fixing part, the optimizing part, which is like you fix the copy, you clean the list, you adjust the volume, which is something you can directly do. But then sometimes you just have to just replace and just buy new domains, buy new email accounts. If you're landing on blacklists, if you're no longer landing in the inbox, if you have a sending limit, there's just stuff that happens that's out of your control where you have to replace the domains and inboxes, and it's sometimes just out of your control, and the time for you to actually go ahead and try to fix the problem is not worth it. It's just better to buy new domains and mailboxes. But sometimes the problem is very direct. Sometimes all you have to do is like fix the copy, make it more personalized, make it more natural, and then you have improved KPIs. So that's pretty much it regarding the video. I've talked about how you can identify whether or not you have a deliverability issue, what specifically in the cold email system is causing you to have this deliverability issue, and how you can go about solving that. In the next video, I'll be talking about the third key factor to cold email success, so stay tuned for that. If you're looking to generate a consistent flow of qualified meetings on your calendar or your sales team's calendar, there is my booking link below. But apart from that, hope this video is valuable and have a great day.